Hello everyone, this is Marcus Stout from Golden Moon Tea, and today we're talking about teacups. When deciding on a teacup, there's three main styles to look at. The first is a simple coffee mug. Everyone has one of these in their kitchen, and they're handed down, and they seem to just apparate out of thin air. While these are very cheap and they're very durable, there's two main problems with them. The first main problem with this is this inside here is not the smoothest. And while it's smooth, it's not as smooth as it possibly can be. Now that's really important because if this on a molecular level is a little bit porous, what happens is the tea actually bonds to the inside of the cup. And that absorbs a certain amount of flavor as well as aroma. And aroma is very important for the whole tasting experience because you taste a lot through your actual nose. And the second problem with this is the lip is very thick. So when you actually drink out of this, the lip is thick, which means that the tea doesn't really roll off the end of it. And that's not very good for tea drinking. So the second style of tea mug you can get, or teacup you can get, is glass. Now glass makes a very good teacup, but there's a big problem when it comes to glass, is that it needs to be thick. It needs to be thick because if the glass is too thin and you pour boiling water into it or very hot tea, it'll crack. So most glass teacups are very, very thick. Something like this here. And when it's thick, the problem is the lip is also very thick. And that affects the entire tasting experience also, and it doesn't taste very good. And if you want to test this whole thickness of lip theory, what I recommend is taking a sip of water out of a teaspoon and then also taking a sip of water out of a soup ladle and see how the flavor changes. It really makes a big difference. So while glass makes good iced tea cups, if you want to use a straw or something like that, it does not make a good hot tea cup. So the third and final type is porcelain. Now, porcelain is the best for tea drinking when it comes to teacups. The main reason why is the inside is slippery smooth. It's as smooth as possible, and it has a very thin lip. Now, there's different types of porcelain mugs and cups out there, and the biggest problem with porcelain is it can be a little bit brittle. It's not the most durable. Something like this is fantastic if you're drinking a really high-end tea and you're having it as a special occasion. But not for the everyday tea. In the morning you wake up and you want to throw something in a teapot and you want to get going, and you don't have time to be really delicate. Something like this is not going to hold up to that. It's not going to hold up to the dishwasher. And the second problem with this is because it doesn't have a handle, it'll burn your fingers. So what you need is something durable and with a handle. So they do make porcelain cups. You just have to make sure that they're thick enough and they have a nice handle. This way, you can drink your tea, you won't burn your fingers, and you can also, use it first thing in the morning and not worry about breaking it. Because if it's porcelain, if it's a good quality porcelain, it's going to have the extremely smooth inside and thin lip also. But if you're not really into the whole mug and kind of teacup look, there is another option. Something like this here is a porcelain mug with a silicone coating on the outside. Now what the silicone coating does is it actually protects your hand from the heat, so your hand will never burn. It's the same concept as if you ever go to a coffee shop, they give you that piece of cardboard you put on the outside, but it works much, much better. So this will have all the best qualities of a really good teacup, the thin inside, the super smooth inside, the thin lip, as well as the silicone coating. And it's also a little bit more masculine, and it's a little bit, I personally like this cup a lot. This is the one I personally use. So when it comes to teacups, just remember three things. The first is the inside needs to be super smooth. The second is the lip of the teacup where you actually drink out of it needs to be very thin. And the third is get something durable. If you're going to use it every day, you want to make sure that it's not going to break all the time, it's dishwasher proof and things like that. So this is Marcus Stout from Golden Moon Tea, and thank you for joining me.